not, but I did vote mainly Republican. I've worked on campaigns and been out in the rurals, seen a lot of areas that have been neglected. And the fact that Clark County is the controlling county for the entire state, and we need to make sure we get on line with all of this. So I think by going right to the core, which is our CCRCC, that we can make a difference. And I want to be a part of that difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate it. With that, I am going to remind everybody to please cast your ballots. We have 11 minutes left. And in addition to that, anyone who is interested in nominating from the floor for NRCC seats, please send that email to secretary@clarkgop.org. And that email should state your first and last name and that you are requesting to self-nominate for an NRCC seat. And if you know your county commission district, please put that in there. It'll make it faster and easier for us to process it on this end. If you don't, however, we can look that up. With that, we'll move on to the second candidate for Trustee District B, Barbara Kaganasi. Sorry for butchering your name, Barbara. I know with a name like Silberkraus, it happens all the time for me. Oh, it looks like
you only got 3?
sorry, it looks like Mr. Hamilton is
You're kidding.
still unmuted.
Did you ask the guy in the back? And they got nothing more. Well, better than nothing, you know. I know there's going to be a big rush, you know.
Mr. Hamilton, can you please mute?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. With
Okay,
that,
are we ready?
Barbara, yeah, if you are ready, please begin.
Okay. I'm Barbara Kaganisi from Mesquite, Nevada. I'm a member of the National Federation of Republican Women. I've been with CCRP for about 3 years and have attended the Clark County Convention as well as the Nevada State Convention. Although I didn't make it to the National Convention, I did work at President Trump's last Las Vegas rally. My feeling about this position is that it's my job to represent you, our members of CCRP. I will remember that as I cast my vote on various issues. It is my hope to assist in creating a more unified CCRP. Please, all of you remember, stand strong, stand together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kaganisi. Did I get it right that time?
Yep,
Perfect. I will endeavor not to mess that up again.
you did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we will now move on to our trustee candidate for District D, Mike Coleon. Give me just a second to find you, Mike. We've got so many people in here. It's fantastic. There you are. Oh, sorry, somebody came in and it moved you. There you are. All right, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Mr. Coleon, are you able to speak?
Yeah, I've been having audio trouble. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Feel free to take your 2 minutes.
Great. I live in a heavily Democrat District D, and my goal is to try to recruit more Republicans to come over to our side and be able to vote for us. It's a pretty big area. I know Carl Johnson, I think, is also a trustee in that area. But my goal is to get more Republicans elected and to work with the party. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coleon. With that, I would ask anybody who has yet to vote, please cast your ballots. We have 7 more minutes that we will keep balloting open.
If anybody has not gotten that email yet, please email.
If anybody has not received their ballot yet, please email secretary@clarkgop.org. I will post that in the chat again right now. Hold on. All right, that should pop up on everybody's chat window. If you have not received your ballot, please email there and we will make sure to get that sorted out. If we have people who are trying to cast but have not been able to, we will hold the election open to make sure that those people are able to cast their ballots. With that being said, hopefully we'll get the rest of those in the next 7 minutes. We still have, oh, and again, anyone who wishes to self-nominate for an NRCC seat from the floor, please also send an email to secretary@clarkgop.org. With that, we'll move on to our final trustee candidate for Trustee District F, which is Dr. Philip Palaraccio. Give me just a moment. Oh, he's right there. So Dr. Palaraccio, I'm going to ask you to unmute now. And if you would like, please feel free to take your 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Philip Palaraccio, used to be a resident of New York City, had a private practice at 5th Avenue and 42nd Avenue for over 16 years. And now I am here in a very nice Las Vegas. And I am representing District F of Miss Barbara Altman. One of my priorities is election integrity, electing more true Republican candidate for state Senate and state assembly, and also to increase our voters registration as Republicans. I am certain that my education, dedication, and focus to achieve the goals that are in front of me are the true ingredients of a successful and effective leadership as a true conservative Republican candidate. If elected, I promise myself to be of service to our community 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Palaraccio. We appreciate your time and your willingness to serve. Thank you to all the candidates who put their name on the ballot. It's no small thing to put yourself out there and to take on the responsibilities of these offices. I thank you all. With that, I do want to let the following people know that we have received messages for them. Ms. Gurr, Miss Carroll.
No. Tell the
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do this first. Mr. Smith and Mr. Berman, we have received that you have not received your ballots, and we are working on that. With that, the secretary has something to say to the body, so I will turn it over to him. Hold on one moment.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I want to let our election team know, if it's possible, can we resend the ballots to the following people who we've mentioned: Valeria Gurr, Lynn Armanino, Stuart Berman, Cindy Parker. We did receive, I know Linda Shannon received her, Danny Carroll. Who was the other one? Was it Deanna? Deanna Carroll as well. They have not received their ballots at all. We want to ensure that they have the ability to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We will get on that. Yes, just give us a moment. For anybody else that hasn't cast their ballot, please do so now. Again, if you want to self-nominate for NRCC, this will be my last call for nominations for the open NRCC seats across the districts. So please self-nominate at secretary@clarkgop.org. We are working on those members whose names were just mentioned to make sure you get your ballots.
Yeah, Carol, Cindy
All right, so again, for any of the members that haven't received their ballot, please check your spam folders. It is possible that it could have ended up in there. We are working on this side to resend those ballots if you haven't received it, but please check your spam. It could be there. With that, we will hold on the elections closing to make sure that those members are able to get their votes in. Mr. Berman says it is not in spam for him. Same with Ms. Gurr. On that, since we don't have any other candidates to speak and we are pending on those last few. Oh, sorry, Iris is there for precinct chair. I apologize. Ms. Stone, if you'd like to take your 2 minutes, please do so. I apologize greatly for missing you.
Hello. I guess you saved the best for last.
Absolutely.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm honored to run for precinct director. After what happened in the November 3rd election, all of us, I'm sure, were very disappointed. And it pointed out to me that I wanted to get back in and get involved at the grassroots level. So one way to do it is to go through the precincts and build up the precincts beyond what we have today. And so what the two key goals are is to focus on winning races. And we focus on those races that have the best chance of winning. And of course, organize around key issues so we can defeat the Democrats. Since after all, they are the ones we're going after. So those are the two goals I have. And my professional background, I worked for IBM for more than 33 years. I worked in sales and distribution and worked in the Wall Street territory with banks and investment banks who were my clients. And as it turned out, it actually was the largest single territory, sales territory in IBM that I worked in. So as the financial person, operations person, working for the sales lead of the whole territory. So I think I have the background and I think I can do a good job, and I certainly intend to. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Iris. We appreciate you you stepping into the fray and taking on a leadership role in the party. We greatly appreciate it. With that, I know we've hit the 8 o'clock mark, but I do know we have a few members who are still trying to cast their ballots. Yeah, that we are preparing something. What I would ask is if everybody doesn't mind being patient. It is 8:02 now. I'm going to mute for 5 minutes till 8:07 to try to address this, and then we will come back and hopefully be able to move forward with the certification of these results and the revote for the trustee candidates in B, D, and F. So with your patience, we will return, or I will return at 8:07. All right. Thank you to everybody for your patience. So we're still working on just a couple. Any members who have not received their ballots and have not been able to cast them, could you please raise your hand on here? That way I can get an active or a current list. Sorry, Nick, there's a button at the bottom, and for everybody else, it says reactions. If you click on that, there'll be one that says raise hand. If you do that, that would be perfect. Thank you.
These people just jumped in last minute.
All right, it looks like, oh, here we go. We got a few more. All right, thank you, everybody. If you'll just leave your hands up, we're taking note of everybody. We're gonna get this taken care of for you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody else for your patience. So just to remind everybody, or at least the 10 with your hands up, we just had one person tell us that they did find it in their spam. So if you'd please double check your spam folder, make sure it's not in there. Thank you so much. And we're getting through this. We're dropping down the number of people, thankfully. Just to remind everybody, after this is done, we will do a revote on the trustees for the specific trustee districts. And then we will be moving on to a certification vote. And then we'll be moving on to Nrcc and bylaws. So please hang around. We still got more to do. All right, to the carols, we are addressing that one right now. We think we found the glitch for you. Just give us a moment and we'll carry on with the rest of you. All right, so we've got a few of you guys that we should be able to clear up in a moment here. Also, for the rest of you, if you don't see, if you haven't seen the email, it will be from Election Buddy, not from the CCRP. So double check that you don't have an email from Election Buddy. To the Carols, that won't be your issue. We're resolving that one now.
You were saying Leonard Smith to Lenny Smith.
Mr. Smith, it says you should have your ballot. So if you'd be kind enough just to refresh your email and check your spam, the system says you should have it now. Mr. Smith, would you message me your best email right now? We seem to have possibly an issue with your email address. All right, so thank you for your patience. To the 9 of you that haven't been able to cast your ballot, I apologize. What we are going to do to ensure your ability to vote is we are going to close the ballot that's out there now, and we are going, oh, hold on, sorry, the secretary has something.
Yeah. Thank you, Acting Chair. Well, we found out from the 9 emails, some of them did not get a ballot. Some of them, the emails that they have, one of them might have been a work email that has blocked the ballot. To ensure their ability to vote, but more importantly, to protect the secrecy of their ballot. With 9 people, we believe that a separate vote for them and then us having to do the math and adding it to the actual total will ensure their ability to vote, but more importantly, make sure that their ballot is secret. So we are going to initially close the first ballot, add those 9 names to a second ballot, and then move forward. This will ensure, 1, that every ballot is counted. 2, there is still an audible trail for every person who has voted. It is a transparent situation, but more importantly, anybody who is eligible to vote in this meeting, who for some reason could not get their ballot sent to them, we want to make sure that we have the correct information for them to be able to vote. And so I appreciate Acting Chair working with our election team and our web team who's hosting the meeting to ensure that we can sit here and do this. As we said before, every vote matters, and we want to make sure every vote counts. And we're doing this as a way, and we've looked at it, and we ensured that people will not be double voting. These people have not voted in the election at all. And we have an audit trail that will prove that. So thank you, Acting Chair.
Not a problem, Mr. Secretary, and thank you for your service. With that, though, to ensure that the 9 members who haven't gotten their ballots do get them, I would ask that each of you please send me your best email address in the chat. I have Mr. Smith's, so if the 8 remaining members would please go ahead and send that to me, we will take those email addresses and add them into this new ballot. Thank you, Ms. Gurr. We got 7 more.
Linda Shannon.
Thank you to the Carols and Mr. Berman. I've got yours. That's 2, 4, 5. We're missing 2, which would be Miss Nielsen and Dr. Palaraccio, and Mr. Alfonsetti as well. So if you 3, yep, thank you, Mr. Alfonsetti. So now it's just Dr. Palaraccio and Miss Nielsen. All right, so we're just waiting on Miss Nielsen, if she'd be kind enough to send that email address. And I'm going to mute myself and start sending these over to our election team. Ms. Nielsen, thank you. I'm glad you got your ballot. So we'll take you off. Sorry, your hand was still raised, so I'll go ahead and lower your hand. And thank you very much. And we'll take care of the rest of you. All right, so Daniel and Diana, you both sent through the same email address. We need separate email addresses to be able to send you your ballots. So if you would please resend an email address for each of you. That way we know who's getting the ballot, because only one ballot can be sent to a specific email address. Oh, I apologize to the Carols. One, yeah, you have the same email address, but one's at Yahoo and one's at Gmail. That was my mistake. I see that. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. Sorry, my conference line just went down with our team because my phone died. Please hold on, and the secretary would like to say something.
Thank you. As we continue through the final processes of voting, we appreciate your patience. Also, if you are still interested in nominating for the Nevada Republican Central Committee, we are still taking on nominations for that. So feel free to send an email to that to secretary@clarkgop.org. Shortly after this, we'll announce the people who have submitted nominations for that. We're currently keeping track of all those while the voting was going on. Like I said, once again, the Nevada Republican Central Committee is essentially the state central committee, which does the voting for the state chair, which election will be coming up on October, I believe, 15th. So if you're interested, please send an email to secretary@clarkgop.org. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Secretary. With that, I believe we are going to close the election that has occurred and then reballot the 8 remaining members who haven't, I think there's actually 9. I believe there's one more, Mr. Brandt, who doesn't have his hand up and said that for some reason he's not able to raise his hand. And we will get the 9 of you your ballots. To the election team, just so you know, my phone died. I will be calling back in. It's on the charger and powering up now. So I'll be back on our line in just a minute. Mr. Kasperi, I see your hand up. Can you send us your email? I don't have that here. Thank you. So, Mr. Secretary, while we're doing this, we're going to read off the names of those who have self-nominated for the NRCC, open NRCC seats. So I will unmute you.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are still taking nominations, but the ones that I have currently seen sent to me are the following: Vincent Palmieri, Luis Ferreira, Dave Crete, Scott Lafata, Lenny Smith, Jeffrey Wald, Laura Clark, Robert Jones, Jaime Serrano, Trudy Daly, Annette Trujillo, Valerie Weber, David McKeon, Crystal McKeon, Alice Stillwell, Mike Coleon, Daniel Rego, Ann Nielsen, Walter Murma, Alin Crete, and Jerica. I've received yours, but I always butcher your last name, so I'm afraid to say it, but I think it's Jerica Deho. And I know I messed that up, but those are the ones that I have received so far. If you still want to be self-nominate, as I go over the county commission districts for these, send it to send it to secretary@clarkgop.org. But those are the ones that I have currently received. I think I've gotten a message from Bonnie McDaniel. I'm currently checking my email for the ones that you have asked me to look for. So currently, those are the nominees that we have for the vacant Nevada Republican Central Committee seats that are being nominated from the floor. So in the meantime, as we wait, for those who haven't voted yet, please vote. I believe those ballots are being sent in. I appreciate everybody being on the call so far. As we move forward to this meeting, elections take time. We also do have a set of bylaws that are being proposed near the end. But once again, like I said, we appreciate you being part of our first virtual meeting for the CCRP with our elections going on. And we look forward to waiting and seeing who our new executive board will be. So like I said, I appreciate every single one being here in this meeting. I thank you for your time. It's a Tuesday night. We know how difficult this would be, just waiting for the results. So thank you, everybody. Thank you once again. I've received some emails and comments for those who have self-nominated within the 3-day window, which would have been from the 11th to the 14th. You will be voted on through acclamation, which means that you will essentially be voting members. So those who have nominated within that time frame, and I believe I said those names a little bit earlier in the meeting, those nominations have already been accepted. So I know we've had a couple of people who have already are state central committee members who have self-nominated. Those from the November meeting who were elected, you are still on. That was the first meeting where you can be elected. So we just want to make sure people who are a little bit nervous, not sure what their status are, that is a process. Those who were self-nominated for the November meeting and elected are already central committee members, and that has been certified in our April meeting or the state meeting. And then those who are for the vacant seats that we have currently, if you self-nominated to the 3-day window, you have priority and you are essentially elected once we get to that motion. And then the rest of you who have been nominated right now, as we go through the county commission seats, we will see if there's actually a need for an election, depending on which districts there are. So I want to thank everybody for their patience.
All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. We're building out the new election right now for the new ballot for the 9 remaining members who need to cast their ballots. It just takes a little while. With that being said, we do have other points of business to address this evening. I'm going to confer briefly and see if we can bring something up to do while we're preparing that ballot. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. So after conferring with the board and going over the rules, I don't believe we can move forward until the election is complete. So I apologize for that, but we will get these last 9 votes in and then bring the results forward for certification. Thank you for your patience, and we'll get this done as quickly as possible. On the positive note, I will, though, say that as far as elections go, this is actually running fairly close to time with the elections we've had in person. So I know it feels longer because we're separated, but we are getting it done at a decent rate. And aside from this one glitch, unfortunately, we will carry on forward. Thank you for your patience. I'll be back in just a minute.
While everybody is waiting, we appreciate your patience. I just want to list the new people who have nominated for the NRCC. There are some people who have submitted their nominations to secretary that are already members. So if I don't include you onto it, it's more than likely that you've either self-nominated during the 3-day period or already current voting members of the Nevada Republican Central Committee. So I have Bing Longakit, Janine Neal, Linda Shannon, Philip Palaraccio, who just came in, Maureen Anderson, James Akers, Carlene Akers, Linda Sison, James Sally, and then Joanne Shaper. So those are the newest ones that we have so far. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just so everybody knows, we are, aside from generating the ballot for the 9 members, we are going over those NRCC self-nominations from the floor to check how many vacancies we have per commission district. And if there are less self-nominations than vacancies, then those will be done by acclamation. If, however, we do have more self-nominees in a district than there are vacancies, then that will be put up for a ballot as well for only members of that district. And that is being done as we're also preparing this ballot. So that will be expediting the NRCC vote down the road. So thank you again for your patience, and we're getting this done as quick as we can. Thank you. Thank you again, everybody, for your patience. Just wanted to let you know we are putting the final touches on the ballot to go out to the 9 remaining members, and that should be coming out momentarily. We'll have them cast their ballots, and as soon as those 9 are in, we can close the election and bring the results up for certification. Thank you again for your patience. Sorry for the long delays. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make a final call for any self-nominations for the open NRCC seats. If you'd like to self-nominate for an NRCC seat, please send an email to secretary@clarkgop.org with your name, the fact that you are running for or self-nominating for an NRCC seat, and we will add you to the list. This is going to be our final time asking. So if you do wish to self-nominate, please do it now. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the ballot is out. The 9 remaining members looking to cast their ballot, please check your emails. I saw a couple of the email addresses are ones that may take a minute or two to get to, but the ballots are out. So please check your email, check your spam. If you don't have it now, give it a minute or two. We should finally be able to close out this election. So thank you all for your patience. All right, thank you, everybody. So we're having these ballots cast. I see that Mr. Smith has cast, Ms. Gurr has cast. It looks like Mr. Alfonsetti has cast. I can see one of the Carols has cast. I'm not sure if the other have. If you haven't cast your ballot yet, of the remaining 9, can you please raise your hand again using the reaction button? Or if you haven't received your ballot. All right, Mr. Brandt, I see your hand is up. Can you check your spam folder, please? All right, looks like it's just you, Mr. Brandt. I'm going to talk to the team, see if we can figure this out. All right, Mr. Brandt, it looks like yours was delayed for some reason by a couple of minutes, but it should be in your email now. If you want to refresh it, check your spam, you should have it. And thank you to the Carols. Yep, it looks like everybody is confirmed. We're just waiting on Mr. Brandt and the technology.
I'll say some more stuff.
Mr. Gonzalez, Acting Secretary, you have something to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to add to expedite the process, I want to add the final names that have been submitted for NRCC: Todd Abbott, Ellen Stokes, Wayne Allen Root, Stephanie Reeder. Oh, but Ellen Stokes twice, she doesn't get 2 votes. Stuart Berman, Helena Arcigaga. Sorry, Helena, I know I've butchered that. Also, I have Fred Silberkraus as well. So that is all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. With that, we are going to close the nominations for NRCC. We will refresh the email for the next minute or 2 just to ensure that all emails have been brought in. If there is a late one that pops up in the next minute or 2, we will let the body know. Otherwise, we're going to finish off confirming the number of vacancies and the number of nominations. I'm going to confer with the team and check on Mr. Brandt's ballot. And once that's done, hopefully we'll be able to move on. Thank you, everybody. All right, thank you, everybody. We are closing the election now. We'll have results for you for certification in just a moment. here, I will recognize you for it. So, God help me. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. I'm going to bring up the secretary to announce what's going on. Please hold. Yeah, do you want the actual vote count?
I'm on mute.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, voting requires a majority vote or it goes into a runoff with the top two candidates. The count that we have is State Senator Kerry Buck, 55, Dave Crete, 52, Eddie Hamilton, 4. It falls under the 50% threshold. We will prepare we voted on. So since it's my job to explain the process onto this on a second vote, since the majority is needed and it fell under the 50% threshold, it is the top two candidates who move on. So the second ballot, which is being prepared, will be between Senator Kerry Buck and David Crete.
Thank you, everybody. All right, so as we are going to have a second round of balloting on the chair race, I'd like to offer the two remaining candidates, State Senator Buck and Mr. Crete, an opportunity to speak to you again. I don't want to throw them right out, so I'd ask them each if they'd like to make comments. I'll give them a couple of minutes to prepare themselves, and then we'll give them each 4 minutes to be able to speak to the body if they'd like to. It's 9:33. I'll come back at 9:35. I'll give them each a couple of minutes to prepare any remarks they'd like to say to the body.
While we're waiting, acting Mr. Chairman, I just want to add a couple of more names who have nominated for NRCC. Richard Moss, Romeo Jacinto, and I believe I'm missing one more. I believe I've already said Todd Abbott. So as we move forward, it looks like there will be no need for an election for the NRCC seats.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Acting Secretary. And as I said, we've now closed the nominations for NRCC. We'll do a second count on the list to ensure that there's no need for an election for any of the districts. But if that's the case, that'll expedite us this evening. So thank you all for your submissions, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for going over the list and verifying that. With that, I will go ahead and offer the candidates the opportunity to speak to the body again. Since I did it alphabetical last time, this time I'll do it in reverse alphabetical. So Mr. Crete, if you would like, I can start you at your availability.
There we go. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, Mr. Crete, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, now I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Feel free to go ahead.
Okay. First, congrats to everybody that's been elected tonight, to Carrie and Eddie as well. It's having done this job, it's a thankless job. It's a lot of work. And I know, Stephen, you've seen exactly how thankless it can be, but it's also an honor. And all I'm really going to say is that my promise to you is that I will do my very best to ensure that we win. And whatever's required to do that, I will do. As a parent and a grandparent, I worry about what my next generations are going to encounter. I served under Ronald Reagan in the military from 83 to 89. And I know what my children and grandkids face is a far different America than what I did when I was that age. And I want to bring us back to that place. So my promise is I will work tirelessly. And I am honored by your consideration. And I'd be honored with your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crete. So with that, I will offer Senator Buck the opportunity to speak. Give me just a moment to find her. There we are. All right, Senator Buck, you've got your allotted time if you'd like to begin.
Thank you, Acting Chair Silvercross, Acting Secretary Gonzalez, and for all of Washoe County, for all of your hard work in getting this up and running. I want to also, congratulate Dave Crete and know that no matter what the outcome is, I'll be working alongside him and Eddie, our biggest cheerleader out there, to bring home the win. Remember, we're a family. Families fight. I mean, I don't even get along with my husband or agree with him 100% of the time, but in the end, we're family. And so we're all Republican. And we want the same thing, to help conservative candidates win the general election so that we don't have to suffer under socialist Democrats any longer. I've been hands-on helping a lot of the slate, Iris and Bing and Dr. Phil, with precinct development. And although there is turmoil on the outside, we're still working. If you look at voter registration, right now in Clark County, we have 37.5% Democrat. We're 36.1% nonpartisan, and Republicans are 26%. So if every single Republican voted for a citywide job or a countywide job, they wouldn't win. And so we need to be better at winning the independents and non-majors. I look forward to working together with everyone to provide everyone the opportunity to work and have input and do as much work as you want to. We need all hands on deck, and we need more hands on deck. And so I hope to ignite that toward our common goal, and that is beating the Socialist Democrats. I look forward to putting together this united front for the conservative agenda, and I hope that you vote Carrie Buck. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Buck. With that, I believe the new ballot is ready to go out. I'm just gonna check with our team, and if so, we will go ahead and release the ballot to the membership. And the ballot is out. You should be receiving it momentarily. The secretary would like to comment. I will yield to him. Give me just a moment. Where find you again? There you are. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to add one more name that I apologize for. They said multiple nominations and I apparently missed it every time. Ophelia Butcher, who's nominated for Nrcc. So thank you for that. Those were all the nominations that we have received.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, I've just been told the ballot is set to release at 9:45. So you won't have received it yet. You will be receiving it in about 2.5 minutes. So please hold on. At 9:45, you should have it in your email. By 9:50, if you have not, please email the secretary. And we should hopefully be able to get this done quickly. We have updated the email addresses in the system for the 9 who had issues before, so hopefully we should not have any issues going forward. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, the ballot has been released. I'm getting confirmation that people are receiving it, so please check your email and start voting. Thank you very much. All right, we've got 71% of the ballots in. If you haven't voted yet, please cast your ballot. Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen. Go ahead. Your video's on.
Yeah. Good stuff. Ready? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For people, I've received emails. If you nominated for the NRCC during the 3-day window from the 11th through the 14th, you will have a motion to vote you in through acclamation. So there's no need to worry about if your nomination has been submitted. I have received that, and that has been noted. I know I've gotten a lot of responses and emails from that and text messages concerned about it. So you have been nominated, and you'll be voted on through acclamation. Within the 3-day window, you actually have first priority to the seat above people who are nominated from the floor. People who can nominate from the floor is only if there are vacancies in those districts. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And as the acting secretary said, at this time, there are enough vacancies for the nominations from the floor, so there will not be a need for an election for those. We can do it by acclamation after we're done with this election. So I'm going to check on the current count, but at last it was over 80%. We are at 90%. We currently have 18 ballots still out. So if the 18 people who still have to vote would please vote now, it'd be much appreciated. All right, thank you, everybody. So we're getting close to the end here. If anybody hasn't received their ballot, would you please click on the reactions button and raise your hand so we can just confirm? All right, everybody. So we've got two, Mr. Brandt, we've got one other that we're just looking into right now. And we'll see about getting this dealt with quickly. Thank you, guys. All right, thank you everybody for your patience. We are going to be closing balloting in 2 minutes. So there are a few ballots, I believe, that are still out there, but we're just gonna try to get everybody in. So at exactly 10 o'clock, we will be shutting the ballot down and we will have results for you. Thank you for your patience. All right, the time is now 10 o'clock, so I will go ahead and close the ballot and we should have results for you any momentarily. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We do have results. Oh, sorry, let me quiet that phone. I apologize. So we do have final results. I will turn it over to, no, Secretary. Okay, so the results are as follows. Senator Kerry Buck with 55 votes and Mr. David Crete with 51 votes. Senator Buck has 51.9% of the vote. And as such, she wins the election. With that, we will move on to certification unless there's any objection. Mr. Secretary, your recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I move to certify the election results. Kerry Buck for chair. Excuse me, I have to pull up all the names. I apologize. Christine Sermino for vice chair. Bing Longakit for treasurer. Ed Gonzalez for secretary. Sorry.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Irene Stone for precinct director. Steve Crescenti for community relations. I got Everstone.
Okay.
And the trustee elections through acclamation, which we will list shortly.
Just to reiterate that, it's Christine Tremino for vice chair, myself for political director, Steve Crescenti for community relations, precinct director Ira Stone, Ed Gonzalez for secretary, Dan Longkit for treasurer, Nick Alfonsetti for trustee District B, Barbara Caganassi for District D. I apologize, Barbara. Mike Coleon for District D and Philip Palaraccio for District F, and Kerry Buck for chairwoman of the Clark County Republican Party.
Is there any objections? You say any objections?
Are there any objections to the certification of this election? Seeing none, the election is certified. Congratulations to the new executive officers and trustees of the Clark County Republican Party. It's an honor to have you representing us. With that, we will move on to the Nevada Republican Central Committee election. As we've said, all the nominations are in. Self-nominations prior to the meeting are all able to be seated, along with all nominations from this evening. We have enough room, so there is no need for an election. So we will do another.
We'll take a quick break.
We'll take another quick break. Give us 2 minutes, and we should be able to do a vote on that. Right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Mr. Secretary. You're unmuted.
Yeah. Thank you, Acting Mr. Chairman. I want to read off the names of people who previously submitted for the NRCC seats during the 3-day time period. David Gaffney, Denise Hamada, Trudy Daly, Rebecca Scarborough, Ellen Vota, Stuart Berman. So I know we have you twice on here. Iris Stone, Julie Herford, Daryl Ann Carter, Jeff Campbell, Priscilla Campbell, Christina Chimino, David Edelbute, Carrie Buck, Lisa Mayo, Mary Rooney, Yolanda Smith, Nathan Taylor, Kevin Keene, Steve Crescenti, Valerie Weber, Bill Sternan, Ken Resendiz, Sherry Resendiz, Robert Suleiman, Dave Tillman, and then Jim Voto. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the names that have been listed both for the 3-day period for the NRCC seats and any other name that was listed as self-nominations for approval to be seated as our NRCC list.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is there any objection? Seeing none, We will now go back, and I apologize for this. For the certification, both for this and for the officers, it should go out for a vote. So we are going to release a poll right now. It's a yay nay to certify the election results. If you'd please be kind enough to vote. Thank you, everybody. If you'd like to cast, you still can for another, we'll give it another 30 seconds, but it has surpassed the 50% threshold. And so I do declare the election certified. With that, and now that we've done the central committee as well, we move on to our bylaw revision. Mr. Secretary. Give me a second. There you
go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to adopt bylaw revision resolution B-134.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Oh, I have a second. I do see Mr. Steeren and Ms. Choate. So I will get to you in the order. We do have a second. Mr. Steeren. Mr. Steeren, you have to unmute.
Mr. Chairman, I move to lay resolution number B-134 on the table.
We have a motion to table the bylaw revision.
Have them speak on it.
Mr. Stern, if you'd like to speak on your motion to table.
Mr. Chairman, the motion is not debatable, and it is a late hour. There are multiple issues in the draft that has been proposed, and it's incumbent upon us to take time to seriously resolve any issues related to any bylaws change of this magnitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheeran. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and we will come back to deal with the motion on the table. To table. Thank you all for your patience. Just give us 1 minute longer. We're making sure we do this by the rules. All right, thank you everybody for your patience. I apologize, and it was my mistake. I took a second motion while we were in the process of the initial motion. Yeah, and I allowed debate on something that shouldn't have been debated, so I apologize. There was a second who wished to be recognized with Richard Mclean. Richard, would you like to make your second?
Yes, I second the motion to approve.
Sorry, Mr. McLean, I accidentally muted you. And would you like to speak on the motion?
Yes, I would like to speak in favor.
Please go ahead.
Okay, are you going to call for any other in favor or not before I begin, or?
No, let's have you begin and we'll go from there.
Okay, so the bylaw revision as it's written is meant to expedite a number of things, and this is kind of an emergency situation. So I understand there's some skepticism about the amount of work that needs to go into this. This has been in the works for months. The bylaws committee has fully reviewed and approved of this draft. 95 to 98% of the draft is a replication of Washoe's bylaws, and the reason being that they are a party that's been up and running with these bylaws for a couple of years. We didn't want to run with something untested. We are in very much an emergency situation, and we have been as a board deadlocked time and time again because of our existing bylaws. With any flaw that you may find with the existing bylaws, you will not remedy it by going back to the former bylaws. And so it is with a tremendous amount of work and effort by a large number of people that this bylaw draft was put together in the interest of giving, and this will be levied as a criticism by some, but it is designed to give more authority and more control to your elected board. And the reason for that is we are in unprecedented times with regard to protests and other things that are meant to simply disrupt the progress of this party. The party cannot sit still any longer. We have to move forward with our agenda for the state. And if we keep hamstring ourselves with the bylaws we have, which frankly, there's conflict all over within those bylaws. Anybody that's worked with on the board knows that they have been severely flawed for a long time. So while this will introduce an opportunity to write new standing rules and to bring about change within the party, it's handing it to the people it should be, which is the board itself. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Mclean. With that, I will go over to Mr. Steeren. Mr. Sharon, I believe you're still muted. Nope, I believe you're still muted, Mr. Sharon. All right, so I will go ahead and, Mr. Sharon, if you can figure out how to unmute, I will move on to Ms. Messenger.
Okay, I have been a part of Bylaws to a point. I've also been a member since 2004. Kidminster and everybody has convoluted this thing to the max as far as bylaws and as far as standing rules go, to where we need to have it clean bylaws, and this is going to do it. This will also bring about change to the trustees, and I am a trustee member. Yes, we get 2 votes, and that's probably about the only good thing that we've been doing. So trustees, this will get rid of trustees. It will bring about 4 new members, 4 new committee members. So those of us who are trustees, if they want to be voted in, they could be voted in as that, and it will give them a purpose. In other words, they will be actually working. And to me, this is really important. We need to have people who actually work. I, as many people know, do work hard for this county party, and I really, please vote yes on the bylaw change. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. We'll give Mr. Steeren another try. Are you able to unmute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. There are too many significant changes in those bylaws that are completely rewritten to be considered at this time. This is a serious issue. I totally agree it needs to be done, but not tonight. So I urge my motion to lay on the table to be voted on.
Thank you, Mr. Steeren. Ms. Armanita?
Okay, can you hear me okay? All right.
We can hear you.
I'd like to address the bylaws we have in place right now. I think they are some of the worst bylaws I've ever seen in my life. You can argue either side of them depending on what your position is. They have hampered the board every step of the way. We need bylaws that are more professional, for which we can move forward. Other counties' bylaws were looked at and considered, and I do believe it was fashioned more after Washoe's than some of the other counties. because they are in Nevada County and similar. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of ad-libbing with that. But I think if we adopt these bylaws, we can move forward. I can guarantee if we do not and we postpone it, it will not happen. And the bylaws we have are not functional. It makes us a second rate, not even second rate, a third rate county party that is stymied and cannot function. Anybody who's familiar with bylaws can recognize how bad they are. These are by far superior. They are not perfect, but I don't know anything in this world that's perfect except for maybe a flower. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Armanito. The last one I see up is Mr. Riggins.
Yes, I wanted to just say that I'm in favor of.
Oh, actually, Ms. Riggins, I apologize. Since you're in support, we have to go 3 and 3. So we only have a slot for in opposition.
Okay.
With that, is there anybody else in opposition? Not seeing any further opposition, we'll pull up the poll for the bylaws. And this is a 2/3 vote. Thank you, everybody. If you'd please cast your vote if you haven't yet. All right, thank you, everybody. The ayes are now in excess of 2/3 of the members in the meeting, and the vote total is 78% in favor, 15% in opposition, and 6% who abstain, with total votes of 61 aye, 12 nay, and 5 in abstention. And with that, the motion carries. With that, we'll move on to new business. Seeing no new business, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody who would like to comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll move on I'll accept the motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Gonzalez, please hold. All right, Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Is that just with that motion, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Congratulations to the new officers. It's been a pleasure to serve as your chairman pro tem. Congratulations to Senator Buck and Chairwoman Buck. And thank you to all the candidates, Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Crete. It's a huge thing to put your name forward, and we greatly appreciate your service, and we look forward to having you as active members of the party and working with the board as we move forward. With that, our meeting is adjourned. I do see some hands up. I'm happy to, if you'd like to direct message me, I can speak, but we are adjourned.